Oh, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is this Wednesday night. It is the Rocci and Russo experience. Come on, let's go. Let's get. Oh, yeah. I don't know about you, Russo. I don't know about you, brother, but I like this opener, so I kind of feel it in my blood just a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like I'm ready, especially with your voice as you lead it in. I feel like it's time for me to go perform on stage 3. Like, coming up on stage, you make me feel like it's time for me to take my clothes off.
Get those dollar bills, y'all gentlemen. Come on out to the lower stage. Bring on up to the Sniffers Row. We do take PayPal, Visa, MasterCards. We have Genevieve coming up, boys. Let's go.
Tell me that you've worked in a strip club without telling me you've worked in a strip club. Rocky, for those out there, we may have a lot of people that don't know what Sniffers Row is. Can you explain to the audience before we get started what Sniffers Row is?
Sniffers Row is the front row. Sniffers Row is where the gross people actually like to go. Real dudes, they don't go to Sniffers Row. They go back at a table and they sit there and they wait for the girls to come to them, right? Actually, I'm just talking smack. I worked in a strip club, but I never went to strip clubs. No joke. I never been a strip club guy. Weird to say that I worked in one. But you get these guys, man, and they're different. They're a different breed of human being. I don't like one of them. Just looking at them, you don't like them. But they want to get as close to the butthole as they can. They don't want to try to smell that. They want to smell the butthole.
1 minute, 36 seconds, and you've already made a butthole reference. I was warned about this.
You are welcome. It's a true thing, though. No, seriously, there was a girl that came in. Her name was Genevieve. I just used her name for the lower stage. You notice I used the name a lot. She came in one time, and I think she just had some business.
She just pooped.
Something, because you can see her brain. It was so stretched open when she went up on stage.
Her brain?
Bro, Sniffers Row was packed, and dudes had straws.
That's a whole... I feel like that's more of a donkey show in Mexico. Speaking of buttholes, we're going to be talking about Mr. McCarthy being ousted from the House today. I don't even know what your opinion is on it, so I'm going to be excited to talk about that. We've got Casey is going to be... For those of you wondering, Casey will be joining us later because today is October 4th. The tinfoil hats are out. I feel different. I'm not going to lie, I do. I feel a little different.
Dude, I think I started growing a third ear. It was weird. I've been following Casey all day, and so I was told, specific order from Brother Russo here, I was told, don't say nothing. Don't say nothing about today, okay? Because Casey has a couple things he wants to say, so we're not going to take none of his smoke. I've been watching him all day on social media, and I've been following the comments, and it has been a wonderful day.
Yeah, I love the fact that people that were talking a big game. And I used this last night, and I used the October 4th joke as one of my comments last night in the event that I hosted that I was telling you I did an event for a company an organization called Meth.
Yep.
And I did not make one meth joke, which they were actually very happy with. It was their 9th year doing the event. And I think they said I was the first person that did not make some kind of methamphetamine joke. There wasn't necessary. There was plenty of other stuff to joke about, like their website in a positive way. There was more. I did a whole line of acronyms. That was the ongoing callback on the night, was acronyms, because their website is completely impossible to understand unless you're in the industry. And the funny part is, one of the kind of the nerdier, dorkier guys that came up at the end, he goes, "Just so you know, I've been in this industry. I've been with meth for 9 years and 6 months. I still have no idea what we do." It's hilarious.
Are you serious?
Dead serious. And they also apparently last night was the night they all realized what all of their stuff is comical about how kind of out there it is and how obsequious. That's the word I'm using. Obsequious. That's the best way to describe it.
What was I just gonna say?
Squirrel.
So Russo.
Yeah.
He literally, I was watching some of the video from the event last night, and folks, mind you, if I'll probably pull some video up here. This was a full house. This was big league stuff on the big stage, man. He calls out a table of guys all sitting at a table with bow ties on, and was surprised because he thought and asked them in front of the entire crowd if a boy band was there. Asked them if they're in a freaking boy band.
It was a black tie event, and they had the bow tie. And a lot of people had bow tie, but their whole table had it. They were with something Connect. I can't remember what telecom company they were with. And actually, there's a photo the photographer showed me later, because I did do a bye reference, and I jumped, and he's got me doing a full bye jumping on the stage, getting into the boy band style. But I definitely had some riffs and made fun of clothes off and sniffing. Now it's party. I definitely had a little bit of fun at that event, and they were incredibly happy. Like I host a lot of events here and there, charity events and different things. Rocky and I are going to be doing the softball game in November, as long as Fox Big Noon Kickoff doesn't go off the wires and send me to a completely different state. But Rocky's
That's a good problem to have, brother. It is. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, either way I'm working, I would prefer it to be in the 2 locations that would be closer to me, because I really want, Rocky, I don't know if you know this about the softball game. Ever since I met TK at that event, which, by the way, it was at Texas Live last night, was the event that I was hosting. The hotel, whatever it is. Yep. Anyways, I've wanted to host the softball game since I wanted to MC or announce since the day that I first heard about TK.
Well, here we are, bro.
Well, now I have, but the thing is, it has to happen. So we'll see. I'll get a private jet.
You have that situation. I have a surgery situation that I'm dancing around. We're both dancing around, dude, and we're all going to meet at the center of the ring at the same time. And it's going to be nothing but glory, bro. Nothing but glory. It's going to work. And then we also have, just to let everybody know, because we're going to be sharing some live videos and this is going to be the cool thing about what we do, is that it's not just going to be a radio show or a podcast, because there's a whole bunch of stuff in the works where we're talking Super Bowl in Vegas. We're talking Media Row. We're being invited to some private parties.
Media Row is not to be confused with Sniffers Row, by the way. Go ahead. Continue.
That is a great point. And especially that we just talked about Sniffers Row, because there will be a lot of Sniffers Row going on in Vegas that weekend as well.
Yes, expensive, very expensive.
And on the 30th, we also have in Houston for Be an Angel event. It's beanangel.org. This is hosted by the alumni of the Dallas Cowboys, and it is their big one. It is the big one, and they're putting us on a hole. Russo, myself, TK, we're going out on a hole, and they just said, make us a fun video.
All right.
Okay.
Done.
We got it. So we're going to be doing all their celebrity golf events now. And I think there's 4 or 5 a year. So we want to bring all of you along for the ride, for the adventure, for the journey, because it's not just going to be this stuff. It's going to be us being goofy and having fun. And I think, you know what, in this day and age, brother, you know this, we need a little laughter in our life, man. We need it. I need
facts on facts. Speaking of a little laughter, one of our favorite followers with Truth Will Set You Free, Dawn Wilkins, hit me up earlier, and she kind of gave me the what the heck happened on your first show. She's like, what was going on that show? Because she's so expecting structure. Truth will set you free. So I had to explain to her. Yeah, exactly. I had to explain to her, and I think we explained to the audience. This is a morning radio style show, which eventually is the end goal that Rocky and I have talked about. So it is about nonsense mixed with politics. The idea is for you to be entertained over informed. We'll inform a bit, but it's an entertainment show. It's not necessarily all about truth and facts. It's literally have a little bit of a good time, get a little bit of information, and hopefully have join some friends. And we will eventually have call-ins as well, which will make it a little bit more fun.
We'll start that next week, because we can do that anytime. So next week we'll announce it pre-show what show it's going to be, but we'll have a call-in, the call-in number. You can call in and I don't know how we'll do it. Maybe we'll just pick a hot topic and get opinions, or we'll do any subject. Any subjects are really interesting.
Which is really fascinating, because we're going to have people calling in. We don't have a screener, so it could get real hairy real fast, just like my butthole. All right. Okay, now that we've made the official transition. We made the official transition. Audrey said Rocky and structure don't work in the same sentence. I love it.
All right, so the cat is out of the bag, folks. Just so you know, I'm going to be a predictionist here. I'm going to be, what do they call, a card reader or whatever they call them, a palm reader,
tarot reader.
Oh wow. Okay, I just saw Jennifer picture. Never mind. Within the next 18 months,
yes,
Russo and I are going to be national on a morning show. This is my prediction. Within the next 2 years, we're going to be in the top 10 nationwide. That's what all I got to say. That's all I got to say.
I'm putting all my money in, because if it doesn't happen, I'm going to be homeless, living on the street, giving hand jobs for methamphetamine.
Dude, I'll be your first customer.
That's not how it works, because if we don't end up on the morning show, you will also be broke and homeless.
I need to practice.
You won't be able to afford. You will not be able to afford my hand jobs.
Woo! All right, so what the hell do we have? Okay, what is going on? I don't have the full scoop with McCarthy. Uh,
Okay,
I'm
so
gonna tell you right off the bat, I don't like him. I never liked him. You know, I come from some old school situations in my life, and I got a pretty good thing when I look at people. And when I look at him, um, I don't feel him. I don't like him. It's his energy. That's what I'm basing. I don't have nothing substantial to give you. What is happening, brother?
yeah, I mean, so it's interesting, and I'm going to leave this in. I did a I did a TV spot earlier for TV. It's a Arabic station. I know that they pay, so I'm like, all right, what's the rate? And I'll do a 20-minute interview. I knew what was going on. The translator, not very good. I have to be very clear. And I did not know going into this, talking about what happened with Kevin McCarthy, what's going on with the Republicans, that I would be facing off against a ultra left Democrat on the screen when they're having this. And it's only played by, I mean, really, it's an Arabic American, but it was all in Arabic. So it was a lot. So to tell you what's going on, let's start with the backup. Kevin McCarthy had his backup against a wall, took, I think, 15 votes to get in as the Speaker of the House because the hard line America First Republicans, Matt Gaetz, Lauren Boebert.
Can I ask you something in
Yeah.
regards to that? Is so I'm going to kind of cherry pick while you go here.
Yeah.
Why does the mainstream media, and this is why I don't completely walk away from Matt, because I do get a little bothered by the constant turmoil. But why does the media keep calling the radical right, or the give the extremist right in Congress? Why do they keep giving that? Because they're more aligned with the Constitution than just about anybody else in Congress.
Absolutely, because they have to give the label to make them seem extreme. And you know what? I mean, Lauren Boebert screwed up. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. But that group include Andy Biggs, and Jamie's very spot on that. Everybody was afraid that he was a snake. That's why it was so hard for him to get in. And the reason they have to label the Matt Gaetzes of the world this extreme right is because even the establishment Republicans are not a fan of these guys because they're fighting the establishment.
Right.
So they have to demonize them as crazy, which is like the guy that I had the conversation with on the show that I was on. It's interesting. We're talking about Mike McCarthy, and we're going to I'll keep giving more information because I'm not making a ton of sense right now. But when it came about Mike McCarthy and the fact that the Republicans were the key figures in getting him ousted, along with all the Democrats, Hakeem Jeffries agreed. What he brought up was insurrection, Trump, crazy, extreme right, chaos. That was his verbiage and terminology. And I'm like, the fact that I'm having a conversation with a DC leftist beta male, and it was a hard conversation. I'm not going to say that I won it because it was incredibly confusing because I got asked 3 questions at a time to his one. Without translation. I was having so much trouble understanding what was going on. I would have loved to just had that guy and really had a real conversation, but unfortunately that's not the way that it panned out. But to watch this beta talk about the fact that all the issues you can see is the Republicans are a mess. They don't care about America. They would rather break the system. And it's all because of what Trump started and the way that they and how could they not like McCarthy? He was okay with the insurrection. I'm like, I don't even know how to reply to this. And I didn't get the chance to reply right away. But the big issue with McCarthy is his back was up against a wall when he got put in there. They held him to the fire. And unfortunately, it cost governmental dollars to be back in the position that we're in, where we had to have a referendum essentially on him. He did not do what he promised to do, which included in many ways making sure that we weren't going crazy with spending. But he was going behind the backs of the America First group and having them and having more funding go to Ukraine. I mean, there's so many things he did wrong.
I don't know, because I don't know all the ins and outs. And this is the problem with the general public, is lots of times that we don't know all the details on why things get done, right? But I think this would have been a good play to let the government shut down. I know this sounds weird, but if we let the government shut down, they would have continued to pay Ukraine. And
Right.
That would have been what the American people really needed to see, that they prioritized another country before our own.
And the worst part about that was allowed by McCarthy.
Correct.
So that I
Is
think
that
that was
a
the
bad assessment? Is that not the right way to think about it on my
No,
end?
I get it. And honestly, I was listening to Crowder a little bit this morning, and I have mixed opinions on letting the government shut down.
Mhm.
If we're still paying Ukraine and the government shuts down, I think that's a really sad state of affairs.
Absolutely.
In terms of the shutdown, I think that there's some ramifications if that is allowed to happen that aren't good from a large picture perspective. But sometimes you got to have the temporary pain in order to actually make a change. And I wouldn't have been opposed. I would have really liked to see what would have happened. But ultimately, why are we in this place? We shouldn't have been in this place. This should
Thank
be
you.
very easy to figure out. And the reason it's not isn't because of the 8 hardline Republicans. It's because of the majority of Republicans that we actually remember have the majority in the House are not willing to do what it takes in order to get spending back under control and say, no, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. They're afraid of saving face because the Democrats are going to use the media to be like, oh, they nixed this because they didn't want 2% to go to XYZ school program. It's bullcrap.
Well, while they're too busy saving face, we're watching our legitimate country crumble. And here's the question: so we have all these turncoats. Who exactly is on our team in the Republican side? Who exactly? Because if we go after like the Gates, because he's the closest to speaking out what we believe, honestly, and I actually appreciate he has the balls to say what he's saying. But we look at somebody like him and we're looked at as radical right wingers. Then we
Right.
look at the rhinos and then we're turncoats. So, where exactly do we, or is this part of the plan? Is this part of the overall Democratic ways to internally disrupt the Republican Party by creating all the Q factions and all these, conspiracy factions and right wingers?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great question, but I mean, the interesting thing, and I really like to listen to what the other people
Yeah, man.
say. And one of the things that guy said was, us Democrats, we have our stuff together because we agree on everything. We manage, we know how to get things done with our group, and we agree. I go, that's the problem.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to, because the American public are not all falling under the same concepts. We don't have the same opinions. We should be having a discussion. And therefore, we were allowed to put our person in the seat, but we also have some accountability with that. So this is not chaos now. As a part of the plan, Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader, saw this as part of the plan because he knows that he can now market this, because we do know the Democrats are way better at marketing. They're going to market this as the Republicans are in complete chaos, and they're going to follow through, just like Dipsy do that I was on the call with earlier. They're going to use this as they don't have their stuff together. They can't even agree with themselves. We shouldn't be agreeing with ourselves. We
This
should
is how
not.
this is how ass backwards we are as a nation right now. Is that we're sitting here right now, and that's all I've heard all week on the news is in regards to that Trump inflated property so he can get more loans. Okay, I don't know. Let's just be honest about this for 1 second. Anybody who has a business and anybody who had to claim your property, can anybody who can 100% honestly say that you fairly put the correct value of everything you owned without inflating it just a little bit? Just, tell me one person. But no, we have a sitting president and his son who worked with communist countries and is still doing it. And we are funneling billions of dollars to one of the corrupt, most embedded Nazi country in the world. And we're not doing a damn thing about it.
Nothing. And it's interesting with the Trump thing, the case should be completely thrown out without question about the fact, excuse me, the judge, I don't know what that was. It was like, it's like
man.
I swallowed Joe Biden's bull crap. Anyways, so what's fascinating is they put Mar-a-Lago. Did you see how much they valued Mar-a-Lago at, Rocky?
What was it?
On 18 million, I believe.
Okay.
That's what somebody gave that number to the judge, and the judge, that's part of what they're using in the inflation of his valuations and what he has. So two things. It was a victimless crime that they're first off admitting, because he paid back all of his debts. He used the money to get loans and then to pay back those loans, all of which have been paid back. So it's completely frivolous. There's nobody that was hurt by even if there was an inflation. But then the fact that the judge is so dumb and so ignorant that they are saying that Mar-a-Lago is worth $18 million. So the fun fact, they looked at property not as close to the water as his, that is a fraction of the size. It is going for over $100 million. There is no way that 18 million is anywhere close. There is a place that has less than an acre that's going for, I think, 18 million, and he's got 70 acres. It's all garbage. And I do have to comment on Mary saying, I can sympathize with the ouster of McCarthy, Thomas Massey, Jim Jordan, and Chip Roy voting against it gives pause. I agree with that. And I wanted, part of me wants to know why, because I'm a big Chip Roy fan, huge Jim Jordan fan. So I'm curious. I'm very, very curious what their reasons are. At the same time, they also knew where the numbers were. They knew that maybe their vote didn't count. They have to look here's the thing, but I want Jim Jordan to fill the role over Scalise.
I do too.
So if Jim Jordan votes against it, knowing that it's still going to happen, it makes him look a little bit more sensible across the board to some of the establishment people. So I don't know.
So is this a good thing or a bad thing with McCarthy being out?
I'm actually for it. I hate that there's $2 million a day spent, doing votes like that. I'm for it because we do need to figure out somebody that is going to start fighting back, because it's been long enough, and we don't have a full formal inquiry into Joe Biden. We're still giving buckets and buckets of money to Ukraine, and nobody is fighting back. We need somebody with some nuts to lead that. Now, we did get some stuff that we wanted in January. We got Jim Jordan, the head of the Judiciary Committee. We got some things done by McCarthy. I actually was very pleased with McCarthy the first 2 months. But fact is, this is a new country. We are having to fight tooth and nail for the freedoms that we used to just normalize, think that they were natural. They're not the same anymore. So if you're not doing what is being asked, and you're starting to make side deals with the Dems, and you're balls deep with establishment Republicans, we have to make we have to make quick changes, because things are happening so fast in this country, and our freedoms are being taken away so fast. We can't waste time.
Before I forget, and if it sidetracks, just bring it right back in. But shoot, what was I just going to say?
Sorry, squirrel.
It was a squirrel, but it was a white one, an albino.
You're so racist.
Totally. See, isn't that weird that we're like that, bro? That you say white squirrel, and that's the first thing people think of, or it's the black coloring crayon.
Have you ever been to Detroit?
The African American coloring crayon.
You ever been to Detroit?
Oh yeah.
They've got black, and this isn't a joke or a racist joke or anything like that. They've got black squirrels up there. Not kidding. They're all the squirrels are black.
Do we have some in Minnesota that were black?
Really? It's a northern thing, apparently.
Those effing northerners, man, they can all shut up, okay?
Well, whenever you see the squirrels with the signs up that say BLM, it just so happens to be black squirrels. That's I gotta cross your eyes like that.
I have no idea, because I got a big nose, so I just aim for the tip, bro.
Anyways, what were you saying?
It was the most heart-wrenching thing to watch the city of Minneapolis burn during the protest, the mainly peaceful protest. I was 35 miles away. I was in Hudson, Wisconsin, standing over the bridge on Highway 94, which is the highway that goes into St. Paul and then Minneapolis.
Yep.
You could see Minneapolis. It looked like an orange glow. The whole city. It looked like an orange glow. And that was the day, brother, that I sat on that bridge. That was the day that I looked at my country a little bit different. I felt a little bit different for my country. I felt sad for her. And I've never lost that since that day. Yeah. And the more and more I watch, and now with this McCarthy thing happening, the implosion, I don't know if it's an implosion or not. It may just be a reset, but we just have a little too much chaos going on right now. And I think it's all part of somebody's strategy, because, most people can't control themselves through chaos. But I am really nervous from now until elections, truly, on what is happening with our country, with our nation, our financial system. And that's where I was going to go. When we start going down the path that we do, we start having these Republicans like the McCarthys and the rhinos that we do have in office. When we start going down this new digital age and the information highways, how do we incorporate our constitutional rights and our privacy rights when it comes to this new digital age that all these members of Congress are supporting?
Yeah, I mean, I
What?
don't know.
Oh,
And
what'd you giggle at? Tell me what you giggled at.
oh, because I don't get I don't get what else. There's really only one thing we have that is our backup of a backup that is a backup of a backup, which is the Second Amendment. If things truly hit the fan, that's where we have to actually start to resort. And that's what
Mm.
scares me is there is no backup. We can't get the ball is rolling so fast and the establishment is so ingrained in our government and in our society that I don't think there is backing. I don't I honestly, this is where I'm a little bit black pilled. And elections, same thing. Tucker Carlson just said that his belief, that his black pill on the situation is that it's not going to be Trump running for president because we're going to fully banana republic ourselves, and he won't be able to be even running. Which again, you could dislike Trump. I'm not. He is not my favorite primary guy, but he should be able to run. What's going on is such an attack on him in a way that our country has never seen in terms of government officials.
Okay.
And then they're saying that it's not going to be Biden; it could be Newsom, and how dangerous Newsom is, and how ingrained in not just the Democrat Party, but everything that is evil. That's where we're looking at. And at the same token, I don't think Newsom has a chance of winning in hell if the vote was fair.
Let me ask you guys, let me ask you, Russo, and everybody who is listening now and in the future, just put it in the comments. Do you think, or is there a small part of you? Because I've always pushed back against Trump myself. I've never been against him, but I've always really contested his behavior. That was my biggest issue with him. But is there a small part of you, maybe a vindictive part, that kind of feels he deserves the position because of what he has been going through, because he's the one that has truly called a lot of this to the carpet, dude, and brought a lot of this to surface. And that's why they're tearing him up. And so because of that, do you feel a little bit that maybe he kind of, there's a part of you that says, put him in there and let him eat their asses? Not literally, but
yeah. And and every time that he got another indictment, I was like, oh, I always say he's like
seriously.
that ex-girlfriend that you're like, do I go back to that? Like, I feel it's toxic. I should stay away. But every time
Oh.
they punch at him, I feel again, I like his personality. I like his attitude. What I don't like, as you know, is his stance on pharmaceutical sides. Aside from that, I mean, take away his opinion on the COVID vaccine, Operation Warp Speed, and that he saved a bunch of lives. He's my guy. Like, I mean, he would be my guy.
What would have been the alternative in his position with this new virus that's going around that everybody was manipulated? Oh, by the way, ivermectin's legit now for COVID. But anyways,
That was pulled. No, hydroxychloroquine. It was actually pulled from the Mayo website 2 days later. They said that was a mistake.
oh, you know why it was a mistake? Because they could legally go back and they could say that the emergency vaccine authorization was illegal then, because there was stuff on the market that
Right.
the mainstream media discredited when
I
they
think they were
should have
hoping to slip that in. But yeah,
slipped nothing.
your question is what should he have done? I get it. And
I know. What if he didn't do nothing?
I'm not and things would have been bad either way because again, we didn't have proper early treatment. It would have looked bad. So I get what he did. My issue is more with the fact that he had pharmaceutical guys in his cabinet when he could have had RFK that was willing to help. Fauci, he kept around far too long. And he was 2 weeks ago still talking about how he made all of the right decisions. And here's the problem. He was slamming DeSantis for keeping Florida closed. And I'm like, you're making things up. You're literally making things up. Like DeSantis was closed. They closed Florida for like 3 weeks. It was one of the freest and most open states in the country. So now because it's his political opponent, he's lying through his teeth.
Hmm.
That's my problem with Trump.
Yeah, I got it.
That's my issue.
All right. Now, just to let everybody know that we do have a guest that has finally showed up. But before we go, because I know we ain't going to get a lot of time, let's do a quick support those that support us. Quick thing here.
Yeah, let's do them. Let's run through them.
So really quick, folks, these are the companies that support us right here. MyPillow. Just go to mypillow.com. Use the code Meatball. They take great care of us, Anthony and myself, for this program. Trust me, I'm not even saying it because they sponsor us. Get the freaking pillow and get the slippers. That's all. Just get them, and you're going to be happy. Go to mypillow.com. Use code Meatball. And
it's a spicy meatball.
It's still spicy. You know, meatball. Okay, Russo.
That's true. So we got Century H2O. You know, I've been talking about the health side of this for a long time. So centuryh2o.com. Use code Russo10. That's Russo10. That's the water I drink all during the show. Even my mom saw a video last week. I'm looking good. I'm 20 pounds down, drinking a gallon a day. This is actually going to add magnesium to your water. It goes right into your tap. It's $300. The filters last a little over a calendar year, and it's you never have to do the Brita thing. The water tastes better, I promise, and it's way better for you. It does more filtering and better stuff.
Amen, brother. And as long as we're on the health kick, Verve vitamin sprays. I just started taking these about 3 months ago. I do the multivitamin, I do the vitamin D, and the zinc. Those are kind of the important things that you're supposed to take when there's viral shit going around. You know what I mean? But this is our brother TK's company. He loves us to death. Go to vervesprayvitamins.com and use code R&R to get 30% off today. Let's go. All right.
I bet you do like that vitamin D. Why does it look like you're farting when you do that?
I felt like I was when I did it. That felt fantastic. I'm
a lot of release.
And by the way, your mustache looks fantastic. Just wanted to tell you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, the one thing we didn't talk about, I'm sure Casey, when he comes up, I'm wearing some of our Awake Not Woke gear. So awakenotwokestore.com, you got the hats, you've got the Pure Blood line, we've got the Be the Change line if you want to be a little bit more positive. All right, that's it. That's all I got.
Yeah, we represent everything here. We represent, we'll piss you off, but we're going to make you super happy right after, and then we're going to motivate you to be happy.
True story. True story.
Casey, thank you for the amazing entertainment today on your timeline on social media. What's going on, brother?
Not much, man. I'm very disappointed today. We didn't get any zombies. Did you guys get zombies? Because I didn't get any.
Oh.
I did. I acted after my alarm went off. I got in a brief fight with Kelly, and I reacted very quickly, and I dropped an F-bomb, and I had to apologize for it later. And I believe as though it was because I heard it activated something in my brain. It did something. I can't explain it.
You did an F-bomb to Kelly?
I do F-bombs a lot, but
dang, bro.
I did. I dropped I can't remember how it was like F off or something like that. It was out of character for me, and it was, usually the arguments have to go on for a long time to get to that point, but it was more of it was a quick reaction, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I heard the alarm earlier.
It's an October 4th thing. It's an October 4th thing. See, you zombified from that alarm.
I was.
Yeah, it was the 5G towers with the 18 gigahertz frequency. It triggered something in your brain, and you just reacted like that. I get it.
Exactly.
I knew it was the towers. I knew it.
So Casey, can you October 4th educate everybody if they don't already know?
So October 4th today, the reason why I'm laughing is because today has just been eventful, but overall,
thanks to you.
What?
He said thanks to you.
Oh, thanks to me. Oh man, it was fun. But today there was a lot of people out there that really thought this 5G towers were going to initiate a 18 gigahertz frequency and to be able to activate some what did they call it? Dang it, and I just lose it. But it's something that is inside your body that is going to turn you into a zombie or potentially activate the Marburg virus, which is a sister virus to Ebola. Do we have anybody falling for any of this yet? Because all of these people seem to be silent today. And yeah, nanoparticles. Thank you, Paul.
Oh, yeah, nanoparticles. By the way, well, the nanoparticles are only in the smaxigenation. So if I didn't get smaxiginated, then I would not have any nanoparticles in me. And by the way, Brian's comment wins the day right there. Gave me a tingling station, or it could have been because my phone was in my pocket.
You're totally, bro.
Okay.
I feel that.
Okay. But no, the nanoparticles, but they're also not saying it's all from the vax either. They're not. They're saying, oh, you have it in your body. The other thing that's crazy with this entire shenanigans, these people are now saying, oh, the government tried to play a game on you. They ran the alert 2 minutes early.
I did,
Those
yeah,
bastards.
I did get mine 2 minutes early.
Dude, I kind of noticed my mental timing was off a little bit on it. That's probably why I didn't sync up with it,
It was definitely a man that pulled the lever for the emergency alert broadcast. Came 2 minutes early.
It was weird though, because I did this when it happened.
Oh,
And I don't know, bro. It just happened.
Yeah, when it comes to this whole thing, like you're looking at the scenario, they're saying 2 minutes early. If the government really wanted to get you, don't you think they would have done it like 20 minutes early and said, oops?
I think the government really did get us, because I think that they knew this would make the crazy Q people look even crazier. And they're probably the ones that put out the initial white paper on this and be like, all right, this is what we're going to spread. We're going to continue to make the people that are far right look ridiculous. And that's what happened. Now, Audrey, stop. I wish people would stop thinking 5G is a thing. It's named 5th generation. That is very accurate. But 5G is how it's labeled and what 5G has the ability to do in that level of technology. And as I told Rocky on Monday, that back in March of 2020, I was talking about the fact that it's very weird that we're using nanoparticles in a forced thing. I go, they said they were going to use nanoparticles with the mRNA. So that's very odd, because that is the one thing that will eventually can communicate with 5G, theoretically. And by 5G, I mean the 5th generation of our cellular abilities and towers. So I do think there is something there, but the way that this was so set up is absolutely insane. Rocky?
Yeah, Russo, let me help you out here really quick. Hey, Audrey. Audrey. Shut up, okay? Just shut up. There you go.
The thing is, she's not wrong. Like, but she's not. You're not wrong, but like, and the other thing, and I like Rocky, I had a whole line of jokes for October 4th last night at the event that I did, and I taught, and these are all telecom people, and I go, now with that conspiracy theory, what I will tell you, by the way, is the fact that 5G is still completely pointless to me. Nobody ever has looked at their phone and gone, oh man, I'm glad I'm in a 5G area right now, because whenever you have 5G, your phone works like garbage. LTE, which is a much lesser technology, is still 10 times better than 5G at this point.
Do you want me to tell you why?
Yeah, bro, bring it. Come on.
They relabeled most of the LTE towers to where they actually show up as whatever. Every cell phone carrier can change what that title shows of what you're getting. It doesn't actually have to be. So, for example, AT&T, go back and look it up. You can see that they put 5G very early on their 4G towers and to label them just to get people to be excited that they have had 5G. But no, they did not have 5G towers.
Casey, can you validate or not? For the record, though, have there been areas across the country where there have been towers where they have found there has been increases in cancer, like schools?
5G does have health concerns. I don't deny that at all.
Thank you very much.
There is health concerns with it. There's also communication problems. Look up the FAA.
Right? That's
the FAA.
Shortwave.
It's shortwave.
It is shortwave. Yes. The FAA has been asking for the government to restrict 5G usage because it is impacting their communication to airlines.
Wait, what is a microwave?
It's a big range. It depends on wattage and all kinds of things, but the 5G is 5th generation. It's not a gigahertz thing. Okay. 5G for like T-Mobile runs at a different frequency than your frequency with Verizon or AT&T. So they all vary. There's a whole different spectrum for each one.
So you're telling me that these companies can literally label it in your phone however they want to?
Oh, 100%. Yes.
So from now on, I can take my T-shirt and I can have the arrow pointing down with a label on the top that says 8 inches.
Totally wrong. That's lying like a son of a bitch, bro. Do it.
So are they.
I will buy one.
So are they. They're lying as well. So I can misappropriate what kind of G I'm packing downtown if I just put it on there.
I start out with 5 and then I go to 8. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Oh, glasses. Smart.
Sorry. All right. My bad. That was a little too much. All right. Got a little carried away. All right. So, okay. What is your guys' take on, I'm really going to push a button because I lost my shit about 2 months ago in regards to a QAnon person. And I brought it on the show.
I lost a QAnon friend a couple months ago because
it was rough, man. Just because I need to know where my information is coming from. The same thing. What was the one before QAnon? Anonymous. That was the big thing. Where somebody wearing a mask.
Yeah.
is going up on YouTube and giving you all this intel, this super secret information that they're putting on a public thread, you know, top secret shit. And it becomes a super reality to people. And I am 100% a conspiracy guy, 100% across the board. But some of those people really get on my nerves because it discredits the real conspiracies that are happening. You know what I'm saying, Casey?
Absolutely.
100%. That's one of my biggest problems with this entire thing is like I'm starting to call it out now. People need to stop saying conspiracy theorists are undefeated. They're not undefeated.
No, I'm undefeated though, because I have made sure that my conspiracies could be backed up before I did them. There's conspiracy theorists, then there's people that are truth seekers that have weighed a lot. Like even some of the people that I truly like, they talked about some of the things, people that are well researched, but and they're intelligent. They'll still talk about the beams going into Maui. And I'm like, all those videos were from 2019 of something else going on. Like you got to realize not everything that is on the mainstream right-wing pages is true.
Bro, what are Zoomers?
Zoomers? Rocky put his Zoomers on. Oh, your glasses.
Oh, I Googled Zoomers. Sorry. My bad.
I thought Zoomers are what happens after you give a dog a bath when they go in circles. That's what I thought.
We could have been like a conspiracy theorist and just came up with their own conclusion on what a Zoomer was.
Yeah.
It's something activated by an 8G tower that's going to infiltrate you just by driving down the road.
You know, I cannot, you know, and I say this really at a pretty common sense level. I cannot expect our government to look out for the best interest of my health or the health of our neighborhoods or our cities or our towns, because legitimately, I understand telecommunications. We have to figure out ways. Sooner or later, we're going to have a pivotal point to where some of this technology is going to backfire on us, and we're not going to know how to handle it, whether it be too much kind of information in the wrong hands or information overload. And we're just going to become just maybe like a singularity where we just all become the same.
I'll take it a step further. It will be actually worse than that, because you're going to start integrating AI, and you're not going to be able to distinguish the difference from an AI generated picture, video, audio, etc. You're starting to see that already ramp up in music. People are writing, putting out music with AI generated lyrics from big artists and putting it in their music. And it's causing that whole industry to get up in arms over it. And once it gets into politics, it's even more dangerous, because now you don't know, did this person that's running for office really say that or not? Because now you're just going to have them say that was AI generated.
I'm starting to think that, Casey, though. I mean, all along, I'm starting to literally go back to when I first started getting involved in politics and think of all the battles that I fought. And now that time has passed and we're able to look at those situations differently. Man, I drank the Kool-Aid, man. I bit the narrative, and I went and I fought battles that were manipulated and weren't even my battles, you know? And so even back then, before AI, we had the same misinformation, but now we're just not going to know if it's coming from a human or not.
AI scares me, to be totally honest.
I
think it's incredibly powerful, but and some positive, but we're trusting a massive weapon with very flawed individuals, which are human beings, government, people, bad actors, all with the ability to do something that if it gets any more advanced, we're screwed. Like we are screwed. Like there is, I can say, how polished I've been my whole life, how the fact that I don't have any charges, I've never broken the law, speeding, whatever, but I've never, and there is something that I wanted to run for governmental office 5 years, 6 years from now, where AI is going to be at that point. They can't make up a video of me doing something like, it's really going to be at that point, it's going to be who do they want to be in certain offices. And that will be the dangerous part, because then it's like Vivek Ramaswamy. It's like, he's so perfect and polished and he says the right things and he's,
I like him.
But there's something that people don't trust about him, and that's because of where we're at. And we don't trust anything. Think about when AI becomes more powerful, how we're going to trust anybody if they really have the right intentions in mind, because anybody that has the right intentions in mind won't make it that far. I said that with Cash on day one when I was talking about I would love to run for president. He's like, I'm going to get you into the presidential office. When Cashley Kelly and I became friends the very first time. And I'm like, I don't think that's possible, Cash, because I have pure intentions. I have no allegiances, no affiliations. They will do what they can to kill me before my voice gets big enough.
Oh.
Personal opinion.
Do you notice the similarities with this pastrami, whatever, dude? Uh,
Pastrami. He's a
you know,
sandwich now.
you ever notice the difference in his talking points? Very similar to Obama's talking points when he first started campaigning years ago when he just started growing hair on his butthole. You remember those days? His talking points are almost identical, almost verbatim in some situations, which makes me scary. I also saw a video of him at Democratic conventions. I also got a video of him that, we got the whole George Soros Foundation thing or whatever it is. I don't like him, dude. I just don't like him, period.
You don't like Vivek?
Nope.
Right. So Vivek, to answer the Democratic National Convention, you got to realize most people coming out of college are also Democratic. They
True.
come out with a Democratic view. So yeah, I'm not surprised in college that someone would be at the DNC asking questions. And if you look at actually the questions that he was asked that the video is out, he was asking very valid questions like, why would you do this? How would you do that? Etc. When it comes to him using Obama's talking points, he's used his speech about the skinny guy up on stage that has a weird last name. I think that's a great icebreaker. And to mirror anybody on a stage, why not mirror one of the most well-spoken presidents in history and to be able to take it up because he actually has the intelligence and the ability to speak like him and to be able to mirror that. I think that is a fantastic game plan.
I think there was a miss in that, though. I think there was a big miss. So, some of the stuff that Rocky said with the Soros stuff, I think that was a lot of it was, I'm not going to say debunked, but it's shifted and he's explained it. The DNC, I think, has been properly explained. The George Soros connection, I think, has been pretty properly explained as well. Now, the whole tie to Obama's statement should have been made a joke. It should have been you've heard this before, but I actually am the real deal. And then gone into it, because without it, he really did just parrot one of the most dangerous presidents in our history. That was not even dangerous, the biggest snake, the one that came in offering the most snake oil. He mimicked that person, and that to me was a fail. Instead of using it and saying blah 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 blah, he could have let in with it or blah 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 blah, and then at the end been like, "You've heard it before," from somebody that failed at President Obama. But this one is the truth, something along those lines. And he's got a photographic memory. Clearly, he could have done that. He could have had that as part of the speech. I think that, to me, that is still honestly, my biggest issue with Vivek was that sentence.
You have an issue just because he took a line from one person.
Well,
that's pretty big.
Are you voting on policy or emotion?
In terms of, I don't know what his policy is because he's never actually been in politics, which I'm fine with.
I was just going to ask, that was my next question for you guys, is that what do we know about him when it truly comes to making a stance on issues? Has he have a history anywhere we can research?
No, but he's the only one to release a plan on how he's going to select his cabinet, release a plan on how he plans to make decisions.
I got a lot of people that flap their gums with me every single day, and they all got a whole bunch of really good plans, man. And the world is 90% shit talk. And I just, I need to see a couple scars on somebody's body before they get such a position. That's all. I'm not against him. He just makes my balls feel very uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
Sure. I completely get it. But when you say that, and you say they have to have a couple stars, so you're saying they have to be a career politician to be a president?
No, a couple scars.
Scars.
Yeah, scars meaning that a little time. Let me show a little voting record. Let me see that what you say your stance is. Let me see your actions in office truly supporting those stances and fighting.
So then Trump would have never been in office.
Correct.
Trump would never been. I didn't vote for Trump.
Oh.
So also Reagan would have never been in office.
Valid.
There was also a lot of very predominant presidents in our history would never have been in office if we require them to have a history of office. And I think that is a shackles and a ball and shackles of our election system if you were to do that, because sometimes you need that fresh person to come in and change the whole system.
I think Vivek does have some evidence. I think he does. His evidence is the fact that he had a pharmaceutical company and technology associated with it. And this has not been debunked by his haters, that he took that company that was doing a lot of work in China. And when he saw what was going on with China, he pulled out. There's people that have said, oh, you did that in 2023. 2023, which isn't true. He did that in, I believe, 2018, far before he ever thought about running for office. So I do think he does have some evidence where he saw some of the writing on the wall. He also is willing to admit when he said that, about masking and about the vaccine, he's willing to admit that those were mistakes. Yep. Again, the question is, do we trust him? And that is the key behind it. Vivek is still, I shuffle daily between Vivek and DeSantis on the Republican side, and then with Trump just a nick behind, which each day it bumps up. The more they attack him, the more it bumps up. But again, everybody probably knows I'm still an RFK guy, but I don't think he's got a shot right now.
I don't know about DeSantis either, bro. I don't know. I don't know if he's ready for that kind of stage because he is freaking great as a governor, man. I watch him all the time, but when I watch him on the national level running for president, he don't have that same energy and character, and I think it's a little intimidating for him. Maybe that's all it is. Maybe that's all it is.
But character could be dangerous. And so I get you. And I that's why I still don't think there's a perfect candidate. What I do know is that all three of them in spades are better than Joe Biden or anybody on the Democrat side. Yeah.
I interview probably 40 people a week. And the best employees I've ever hired were the ones that didn't know how to do good interviews and they barely said anything.
Yeah.
And the ones that were the worst employees were the ones that came in and used all the magic words. Yeah. You know what I mean? And maybe I shouldn't use that scenario and incorporate that into my political level, but it's the natural behavior of human beings. And I'm skeptical on everything now. I don't know why. A little paranoid. I'm just a little freaking paranoid.
You should be.
I should be. Absolutely.
You should be. Our government has turned on us, and my pin year is 1912. Our government turned on every American citizen when we passed the Federal Reserve Act, and then we also instilled the 17th Amendment of the Constitution, making it to where we elect a senator, but we don't have any recourse to remove them from office. I think those are the first foundations, the foundation of the fall that we are seeing today.
When you take that power away, then it's the power doesn't lie truly within the people then.
Well, the problem is with the 17th Amendment, it actually lied within the American people. You would elect your local office and then they would appoint someone as the senator. And then if they didn't like what that senator was doing, they would immediately pull them back and then find somebody else to be there. Yep. And it would be on their head locally to make sure that they appoint somebody to do that or they don't get reelected.
And when did we abolish that?
1912 is when we voted on it. It went into effect in 1913.
Whew. Are we going to do over?
If we're going back that far, let's go back and get rid of the Federal Reserve so we can at least have gold and silverback dollars.
That would be fantastic because, we're here in other countries doing that. We should never walk away from it.
Deb Treadway a ways back brought up the, term limits and all that stuff. That was another reason why Mike McCarthy was ousted is he was supposed to start. There was a lot of items that he was supposed to make happen. And he hasn't, outside of his first 2 months, he's done nothing but bow to the Biden administration, bow to Ukraine, and bow to the establishment Republicans and Democrats. So therefore, that's one of the, call back to the beginning of the show. That's why one of the many things he's not fulfilling. And who would win between Gavin Newsom and Vivek Pastrami? I would say still Pastrami.
Dude, we just started something here. It's pastrami now.
Yeah, it is pastrami. 100%.
I want a sandwich. So there's a little situation here, gentlemen.
Yeah.
We talk about our new age politics, and we also have a new age of these youth, these kids. There was an 11-year-old that there was a
Joe Biden sniffed. No? Okay, different story.
No, too old. No, that was too old.
Too old.
Probably about 4 years too old.
Got it.
There was an 11-year-old so there was a football game and there was a fight at the football game. So this 11-year-old kid, right? Double digits for 2 years now. He was just 9 years old 2 years ago, right? He runs into his mother's car, opens the car. He grabs the mother's gun, wherever it was in the car. He runs back to the fight and it wasn't too far. And he points at the crowd and he shoots the gun. It hits two of the football players. It's and this was, I don't know if this kid was a football. Russo, you had the article open in front of you.
Yeah.
This was an 11-year-old kid whose first instinct during an altercation is to run to a vehicle, grab a gun, and to shoot into a crowd of people. An 11-year-old, and he did it like he has done it numerous times. Is this the new age we're living in? And is this the lack of accountability that we are presenting within our streets that is producing this new age animal in these children?
Casey, I'll let you go on this. Do you know anything about this story?
I don't, but hearing that, I'm a big proponent of the parents being accountable for their children up until they are adults. This is that situation. Do the parents get life in prison or anything? I don't think so, or anything like that. But there is some negligence. There is some issues of protecting the weapon, and having it in a locked place should happen so these scenarios can't happen. Say it wasn't her son and it was some random person off the street going and grabbing it, they would blame that person going and grabbing it, when still it is the gun owner's responsibility to protect that from getting into the wrong person's hands. And that is what I look at in this scenario.
I have to say, I do agree. You know, we've had this conversation in the past. There was the kid that killed some people in the school. I can't remember. It was about a year ago, and it was the parents gave the gift to the mentally ill son. And I think I was the only one on our show back when it was a true show. I think it might have been 2 years ago. I thought the parents definitely deserved to be punished, but it's different than this story. This story, I would like to know, there needs to be more eyewitness accounts. Did the mom say like, yo, Jamal, go get the gun,
Right.
get his ass? Like,
Right.
what was said? If the mom just had a concealed weapon in a place where it was legal, again, even though I think it should be legal everywhere, but if she had a place where it was legal and the kid just knew that it was there and they made the decision on their own and it's bad parenting, I think that begs a very gray area. If that was his gun and like there's any evidence that he's like, all right, Jamal, this is our family gun. You know, this is partially yours, 11-year-old young man.
Yep.
Now, that's a different story. And if the mom like sicked the kids, like, and what's the backstory? It was 13-year-old boys that were on his own team. So this is another, I mean, there's so many societal issues in this. I think I need to find out more whether or not the mom should be fully blamed.
I know. I started telling Russo about the story, and he started asking me all these questions. I'm like, I don't know, bro. I'm not the freaking investigator, you know. I think here's the part that's rough for me, because I agree. I think that the conversation with me it's challenging a little bit, because of the fact is that it was in a car. He went and got it as 11 years old. But somebody who's 11 years old who knows how to handle a gun that good means that he was taught how to use it. So if
I don't think he was taught how to use it. I watched the video. I think he just knew it was probably, I don't think he took the safety off. I think the safety was off, which is what it's supposed to be if you're a gun owner. Yep. I just think he grabbed the gun and started busting caps. Like he was point blank range and he hit somebody in the shoulder and another person in the arm. So, I mean, I don't know if he knew how to use the gun or if he just played some video games on his Wii. Or
maybe right. You may be right, because they're going to charge the lady for second-degree murder or second-degree attempted murder.
Attempted murder, yeah, because nobody died, nobody got severely hurt. And again, the story that I was talking about before was from a year past or 2 years past. Was a white kid. I do have to address that this was a black youth. Again, this is not an issue of white supremacy. There was also in this same girth. I don't know if that's the right word. Did you see the stabbing in Philly? No. Oh, man. It's all DC Drano has it all over his page. This guy saw a crazy black dude walk by him, and I guess he looked at him too long, and the guy ended up stabbing him to death in front of his girlfriend. And he was just trying to kind of protect his girlfriend. Turns out the guy is a climate change activist, ultra left, ultra defund the police. Irony. But he got stabbed to death in front of his girlfriend, which the video is very weird. She's like, oh my God. Oh. And then took her. It's weird. But at the end of the day, the crazy thing is they still have not caught this guy that was crazy and stabbed somebody to death. And none of the news is reporting what he looks like. And I think that's important when you've got a murderer out on the street that's crazy enough to kill somebody because they looked at them funny. I think that it begs the question of saying, hey, 5'8" black male with a hoodie, but they won't say it. Weird.
That's funny. I got a story for you, but I don't know if I can bring it on air yet. Folks, we're out of time, Russo.
Deuces. Oh, so with that said, guys, I hope you check out all of our different sponsors. Have a great day. Have a great evening. We love you all. Casey, thanks for joining us. October 4th, we made it. My testicles are still here. I'm not a zombie. Thanks for joining the Rocci and Russo experience. Bet your ass you'll leave wanting more. I gotta pee. Baby poop. Twice the deuces.